What does it take to make life work? What's going on here? What is this about? Somebody tell me the rules. I'll play. I promise I'll play the game. Just tell me the rules.
Neale Donald Walsch has written 39 books on spirituality. 7 of the 9 books in his Conversation with God series have made the New York Times bestseller list.
In my Conversations with God, which covers 3,000 pages in 9 books, the first message I received in the first few pages of book 1, 30 years ago, Neale, here's the most important message.
His titles have been translated into 37 languages. His latest book is The God Solution. It is about asking the most important question: who is God really?
There's one question, Dorothy, that most people have never asked themselves in their lives. Some people have, but the largest number of people, most people, have never asked themselves a simple philosophical question. Who am I? Who am I? Is this who I am? Am I my body? Is this who I am? Am I just a physical life form? Like a bird in the sky or a fish in the sea? More sophisticated, perhaps, maybe more complex, but nothing more than a simple form of biological life. Is this who I am? Is this who I am? Am I my mind? Or am I both my mind and my body? But most people have gone through their whole lives never even questioning their own identity. But what I was told in Conversations with God, Neale, this is not who you are. This is not even who you are. You're not your body, and you're not even your mind. You are that which has a body and has a mind. You're simply using these as tools, pieces of equipment. Who you are is a spiritual entity. You are a soul that has a body and a mind. You're carrying these pieces of equipment around so that you can accomplish the agenda of the soul, which is to demonstrate and then to experience your true identity. That's the purpose of life. In every physical form, everywhere in the universe, there is intelligent life, of course, elsewhere in the cosmos, not just on this planet. And you know what? I've even experienced something that many people have experienced. On a clear, cloudless night, I've had the joy and the pleasure of lying in the grass more than once, just looking up at the sky. Not a cloud in the sky, just a canopy of glorious stars and planets. And as I've looked up at that unbelievably glorious canopy, that umbrella of heavenly bodies, one night tears came to my eyes. And my wife, who was lying next to me on the grass, said, "Oh, are you crying because of the beauty of what you're looking at?" I said, "Well, yes, but not really. That's not really why I'm crying." She said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "I'm homesick. I came from there."
Yeah.
And I'm not the first person who has felt that way. So I'm here to tell you that we have all had multiple lifetimes in multiple places. And some of us are now having a lifetime on this planet, and we're trying to figure out, what in the world are these people doing? What is going on here? What kind of a civilization is this? This is the most uncivilized civilization I've ever encountered. People actually kill each other when they disagree with each other. People are actually unkind to each other when they disagree with each other. What kind of a place is this? What hath God wrought? What's going on here? And that's what caused me to sit down and have my first conversation with God, Dorothy. 29 years ago, I sat down finally in my living room at one point and I wrote an angry letter.
Oh.
I wrote an angry letter to God. I didn't know how else to take it out, take out my energy. So I wrote this letter, Dear God, on a yellow tablet, on a yellow legal pad. Here I am writing. What does it take to make life work? What's going on here? What is this about? Somebody tell me the rules. I'll play. I promise I'll play the game. Just tell me the rules. And after you give me the rules, don't change them every other year. Because it seems the rules are always changing. And then I finally said to God, what in the hell do you want? What do you want from us? Or what is it that we don't understand? The understanding of which would change everything. And you know what God said to me? She said, Neale, sweetheart, it's so simple. You think your life is about you. And your life has nothing to do with you. Your life is about everyone whose life you touch and the way in which you touch it. And when you touch the lives of everyone with whom you interact with divine love, everything that you have been striving and stretching and searching for will fall in on you automatically. Because in the largest sense, your life is about you. Because what you do for the other, you do for yourself. And what you fail to do for the other, you fail to do for yourself for a very simple reason. We are all one. Dorothy, in my conversations with God, which covers 3,000 pages in 9 books, the first message I received in the first few pages of book 1, 30 years ago, Neale, here's the most important message. We are all one. All things are one thing. There is only one thing, and all things are part of the one thing there is, the essential energy of life itself, which we could put into 2 words: pure love. But when I was told this, it almost seemed too good to be true. I mean, it was a fanciful, lovely thought. Oh, who we really are. The only energy in the universe is pure love. God is pure love. What a nice thought. But I said to God, even in my own conversation with God, I said, it just sounds too good to be true. And God answered me, Neale, if God can't be too good to be true, who can? So the grandest truth comes from the grandest being in the universe. God's truth is, I love you no matter what.
I think a lot of NDEs today confirm what you've just said, because I cover a lot of near-death experiences. And the overwhelming message that people bring back when they've had an out-of-body experience is that we are all one, and God is within us. We are, in essence, God.
The little story I like to use to help people maybe put their mind, wrap your mind around that thought. I agree with everything you've said, and I'm not surprised to hear you tell me that most people who've come back from NDEs share the same truth. But what I've received from God was a wonderful little analogy that helped me wrap my mind around this idea that God and I are one. God said to me, Neale, think of yourself as a wave on the ocean of divinity. Now, if you've all seen waves on the ocean, is the wave something other than the ocean? No. Is it separate from the ocean? No. It's an individual arising of the energy that we call the ocean, and it's an individual expression in beautiful, glorious, powerful form. And when that expression is complete, the wave recedes back into the ocean whence it came. And that is a metaphor explaining your relationship to God. You're not God in total. You're not the sum total of everything God is, but you are a wave on the ocean of divinity. You're an individual expression of the divine. And when you step into the demonstration of that, you change your life. And be careful. You might even change the world. I asked God, what is this thing called death? Help me understand. God said, Neale, sweetheart, it's just a change of address. Death is simply a process of re-identification. And then you may decide to come back to the world of the physical, to this realm in which you now experience your life. You may choose to reincarnate, to once more have the joy and the demonstration of who you really are. Because in the realm of the physical, you have the opportunity to demonstrate who you are. Because in this realm, as opposed to the realm of the spiritual, in the realm of the physical, there exists that which you are not. The opposite exists. And so here in this realm, on this planet and elsewhere in the universe, you can encounter that which you are not. Because in this realm of the physical, there is up and down, left and right, big and small, fast and slow, black and white, male and female, this and that, what we call good and what we call evil, or if you please, the darkness and the light. So if you imagine yourself, again, to use a metaphor, but if you were simply to say, I am the light. But if you wanted to express yourself as the light, not just to know it, but to express it, you would have to go to a place where there was darkness. Then you could express yourself as the light. But if you condemn the darkness and make it wrong, then you will have totally misunderstood why you came here to begin with. Therefore, raise not your fist to heaven and curse the darkness not, but be a light unto the darkness, that you might know who you really are, and that all those whose lives you touch might know who they really are as well.
If there is a God and we are an individualized part of God, why is the world in such a mess? Why doesn't God make our problems go away?
As you can imagine, when I had my conversations with God, I said, why don't you make the world's problems go away? And God said, why don't you make the world's problems go away? And I said, no, I'm asking you the question. And God said, no, I'm asking you the question. And I said to God, but you're the one with the power. And God said to me, but you're the one with the power. And I said to God, but you're the one who's creating everything. And God said to me, no, you're the one who's creating everything. It was not my intention. This is God talking now. She said to me, Neale, it was not my intention to have you be minions, slaves in a kingdom who simply did what I demanded and produced what I wanted you to produce. It was my intention to create duplicates in miniature of what I am. Individual expressions of consciousness with enough metaphysical power to create your own reality. So I've given you the power to create your own reality individually and collectively. And if you don't like the way life is going on the planet, notice how it's happening. Notice who's creating it. You're creating your own reality. If you don't like the reality you're creating, stop it. Just stop it. Stop behaving like 2-year-old children and decide to become finally spiritually grown up. And it's going to take a commitment on the part of many of you to step into that. Some of you have already done it. We've had individuals around the world, Catherine of Genoa, Jesus of Nazareth, Elizabeth of Hungary, a man called the Buddha, Muhammad, bless his holy name, Joan of Arc, Julian of Norwich, the Blessed Mother Mary, women and men throughout the ages have demonstrated that it is possible to express their true nature as individuations of the divine. Some people have actually said it. They've actually said, I am the Son of God. Of course, we strung them up. We crucified him. So, I guess maybe people are afraid to say anymore that I am an individual expression of the divine. But we all are. And if we simply followed the example given to us by men and women throughout the centuries and decided to step into our true identity, we could change the world overnight.
Neale, you see, the issue is, I know that, you know that, but there's so many contradicting views about God, which is, I know, the God dilemma, and you've written about it, because there's so many other people that still label God or identify God as a judgmental God.
We need people who are willing to be heroic and be an idea hero. That is, to place before humanity, to put in front of all those people whose lives they touch individually, a different idea about themselves, a different idea about life, and yes, a different idea about God. So we need idea heroes who are willing to do that, knowing in advance that the idea that they are articulating, the idea that they are speaking of, the idea that they are sharing about God and about life is going to be disagreed with by many people. People say to me, Neale, what are you talking about? What's an idea hero? And I have to explain to them, well, let me give you an example. Galileo was an idea hero. He said in 1615, in the year 1615, Galileo said, you know what? I've discovered that the earth revolves around the sun. He was roundly condemned by everybody in society, most especially by the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church taught that the sun revolved around the earth, because the Catholic Church said that God made the earth and human beings the center of the universe, the grandest creation in all of existence. And because what Galileo said violated the teaching of the church condemned him, excommunicated him, placed him under house arrest for the entirety of his life because he said something that no one agreed with, or at least the largest number of people did not agree with him. He was an idea hero. Who's the idea hero today who will dare to say, maybe, just maybe, there's something we don't fully understand about God, about life, and about who we are, the understanding of which would change everything. So what we need today, Dorothy, are idea heroes. When we reach critical mass with idea heroes, and by the way, that is not one more than half. That's not 51%. That's not even 30%. That's not even 10%. Physicists tell us that critical mass is somewhere between 3.5 and 5% of the whole. We're rapidly reaching 3.5 to 5% of the people who are now saying, wait a minute. There's more going on here than meets the eye. Shakespeare was right. Shakespeare wrote it in the play Hamlet. He said in Hamlet, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. And so the opportunity, the invitation of this moment in time is for us to be idea heroes, to dare to speak the unspeakable, even though we know that most people will disagree or may not even understand. And that is how species evolve. So I invite everyone who's watching this program right now to become an idea hero. Metaphysics is the science of energy. The essential essence of the universe is energy. Everything, even people who are not scientists, understand that all of life is really energy. Everything we see is simply energy in a particular form. If we can learn to harness that energy and then to focus it and then to direct it and then to project it in a certain way, we can in fact produce particular outcomes. Everyone knows about the power of positive thinking, and that's what it really is. The power of positive thinking is metaphysics applied. It's when we get more than a few people, but a large number of people thinking positively and powerfully about life, about themselves, about God, about their grandest and most joyful and most blessed desires for the world, for their children, and yes, even for themselves. And so metaphysics is about using the power of the mind to create jointly and collectively as a species the outcomes in our civilization that we most desire. It's really quite as simple as that. There's nothing mysterious about it. So books have been written for hundreds of years about the power of positive thinking. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Reverend Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, wrote a book in 1948, I think, or 1947, called The Power of Positive Thinking. So this is not new information, but it may be time for us to reach over our shoulder and grab some of that knowledge from the past and bring it forward. That's why the last 5 chapters of my book, The God Solution, offer a short course, basically a short course in the metaphysics of manifestation, how we can collectively and individually manifest the reality that we most desire using the power of focused thought. Gratitude is extremely powerful because it combines all of the other positive energies into one little package, if I could put it that way. And it says, thank you. And gratitude in advance is really powerful. You know, that's why my favorite prayer, I have a favorite prayer. My favorite prayer is, Thank you, God, for helping me to understand that this problem has already been solved for me. Gratitude in advance is extremely powerful. It's a powerful form of creation because it harnesses the primal energy of the universe and projects it outward into the universe in which we are currently circulating, in which we are currently having our experience. And it projects that energy into our moment-to-moment experience in a positive way. Gratitude is the attitude.
It's
And
the attitude.
I invite people to be grateful for everything in their life, even those things which they did not feel were really very wonderful, because all events of our life bring us to a place of evolving to the next level of who we really are.